This is the crew of Apollo 13, wishing everybody there a nice evening, and we're just about ready to close out our inspection of Aquarius and get back to a pleasant evening at Odyssey. Good night.
Thank you, 13.
Okay, Flight, you read his pitch and yaw on his high gain meter?
That's affirmative.
And now you want to roll right to 060? No,
I might as well do that. And we'll try and get Comet Bennett. I'd still like a verification on the docking angle because that's what we'll be using for computations of all alignments and everything else. Let's see if there's anything else.
Flight Ecom.
Go ahead, Ecom.
Okay, well, let's terminate the battery B charge at 55 plus 50.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'd sure like to have a cryo stir all 4 tanks.
Well, let's wait till they get settled down a bit more.
Roger.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Okay, would still like to re-enable the other 2 quads for the maneuver.
Okay, when rolling to 060, you want them to enable C and D, right?
Right.
Do you want them to disable A and B?
No.
Okay, all 4 quads then.
You have a coupled jet maneuver.
Roger. Copy, Capcom?
Got it.
Flight Inco.
Go, Inco.
I'd like to confirm their configuration on their high gain now, if I could.
Okay.
I'd like to know what track mode they're in and what servo electronics they're in.
Okay, let's just stand by 1 there. Enable C and D for roll to 060. Terminate battery B charge. Okay, the third thing we want up there, Capcom, is to verify their high gain configuration. And I assume what you want from there is you want to know their tracking, position of track, beam width. You don't need, do you? Do you want the whole works?
Yes, the whole
Okay.
works.
Capcom, we want the configuration of the CSM high gain.
Apollo 13, Houston. The next thing we'd like you to do is to...
Go ahead.
We'd like you to roll right to 060 and know your rates for photography of the Comet Bennett. To do that, we'd like you to enable quads C and D for the maneuver. Use all your quads. And in precisely 1 minute, we'd like you to terminate the battery charge on battery B. And one other request, we'd like to have you verify. One other request, we'd like to have you verify your high gain configuration. We'd like to know what track mode, what servo, and what beam width.
Okay, Jack, during the TV, we were auto track, narrow beam width, and a primary electronics.
Anything
That's
else?
good.
Okay.
No.
And we had a good lockup. Just after we started the maneuver, I was able to lock you up and get real good signal strength. And it just seemed that right there at about 239 degrees in yaw, that the signal strength would just drop off and yaw would go to 0 and pitch would go to 90.
Roger,
report.
we copy. And the TV show was great.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Can we verify that they re-enable C4 thruster?
Okay, I'm going to maneuver to 060, 090, and 0.
Okay, verify that you're showing it disabled yet?
Yes.
Capcom, we're still seeing C4 thruster disabled.
And 13, we'd like you to check C4 thruster.
Flight Ecom.
Go, Ecom.
We've got 40 amp hours back in battery B now.
Okay.
You got it, Flight.
Okay. Okay, all flight controllers, I want to go around the horn and pick up anything you need configuration-wise. Tell them you.
Go ahead, Flight.
You still worried about any configuration items?
Negative. The LEM heater current indicates that the LEM was properly closed out. They apparently have not closed the LEM hatch yet.
Okay. So you're happy that you don't need them to verify that, what is it, activation 2-3 of those pages we were on?
That's right, it was TLC 2 and we're happy.
Okay.
Flight guidance.
Go guidance.
Can we ask about the docking index again?
Okay, Jack.
Capcom will get that for me.
On the battery beam.
Roger, we see it, Jack. And we got a reading of minus 2 degrees in the docking index. We'd like to know if that's 2.0 precise or if it's 2.1 or 1.9.
No, it's a minus 2.0 precisely.
Okay. Got your answer, guidance?
Roger, flight.
Okay, go with it. Okay, GNC, you got any configuration items here?
Negative, flight.
Capcom, looks like the last item we need here is a stir on the H2 and O2 at their convenience.
Okay.
We've got one more item for you when you get a chance. We'd like it to stir up your cryo tanks. In addition, I have a shaft and trunnion
Okay.
for a look at the Comet Bennett if you need it.
Okay. Stand by.
Flight guidance.
Go guidance.
We finally got our Delta H update. Do you want to just read it up to the crew or uplink it?
Let's see now. Can we collapse dead bands and do all that good stuff if we uplink here?
Yeah. Why don't we just read it up to them?
Well, if they enter it through the disky, are they going to do it?
Stand by one.
Now, we haven't stabled out in that attitude yet, so I don't think we're going to have any problems.
Right, I don't think there's any problem. They haven't opened up dead bands yet.
Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. The time to do it is now, guidance.
Flight guidance.
Go, guidance.
As long as he's in poo and don't reselect it, he can uplink it or enter it himself, or we can do it either. Doesn't matter.
Okay, why don't you got to pass the data for the crew checklist anyway on board, don't you?
Right.
Don't you got a page update? Well, why don't we read it up to them, and that'll serve both purposes.
All
You can
right.
both have them entered, as well as why don't you tell them what page you want it in the checklist.
Okay.
Flight, tell me.
Go tell them.
We show the LEM overhead hatch is closed and the heater current looks normal.
Okay.
Flight guidance.
Go, guidance.
We've had a hardware restart. I don't know what it was.
Okay. GNC, you want to look at it? See if you see any problems?
Houston, we've had a problem.
Roger, we're copying it, Capcom. We see a hardware restart.
Bus undervolt.
You see an AC bus undervolt there, guidance? Or ECOM?
Negative, flight.
I believe the crew reported it.
We got a main B undervolt.
Okay, flight. We've got some
Main beam.
instrumentation flights. Let me add them up.
Roger.
Okay, stand by at 13. We're looking at it.
We may have had an instrumentation problem, flight.
Roger.
Flight in, go.
Go on, call.
We switched to wide beam width about the time you had that problem.
Houston, the voltage is looking good. And we had a pretty large bang associated with the caution and warning there. And as I recall, main B was the one that had a amp spike on it once before.
Okay.
Roger, Fred.
Inco, you say you want the wide beam width there?
Yes.
Let's see if we can correlate those times. Get the time when you want the wide beam there, Inco.
And the interim here, we're starting to
Okay.
go ahead and button up the tunnel again.
Roger.
Do we have the floodlights off in here now?
That jolt
That's
went
affirmative,
along
Flight. Yeah, we can determine that from the limb current.
sensor on, see now in O2 quantity 2, it was oscillating down around 20 to 60%. Now it's full scale high again.
Roger.
And Houston, we had a restart on our computer. We had a pink light and the restart reset.
Roger, we copied that
Roger,
also.
Restart. And a ping light. Restart on a ping and reset.
And I'm looking at our service module RCS helium-1. We have B as barber pole and D as barber pole. Helium-2, D as barber pole. And secondary propellants, I have A and C barber pole. P-mag temperatures. Okay, AC2 is showing zip. I'm going to try to reconfigure on that, Jack.
Roger.
Ecom, you were seeing any AC problems? Looked like
Flight
we've got
Ecom?
a lot of instrumentation problems there. Go ahead.
That's firm. He's flipping our fuel cells around, Flight.
Well, let's get some recommendation here, Si, if you got any better ideas.
Main bus A undervolt now, too, Sean.
Main A undervolt.
Si, what do you want to do? Hold your own and...
Main B is reading zip right now.
Si, have you got a SIG sensor type problem there or what?
Flight Econ?
Go ahead.
He's got fuel cells 1 and 3 are offline. We've got main A volts. We have no main B volts. Have him attempt to reconnect the fuel cells. Fuel cell 1 to main A, fuel cell 3 to main B.
Okay, fuel
Let's just
cell
try that.
1,
Back to main A,
Number
fuel cell
1.
3 back to main B.
main A, 3 to main B.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, now, do we have instrumentation problems?
Well, we lost it does appear we've lost AC bus 2 voltage. Main B is reading 4 volts, and that effectively takes AC2 away from us.
Okay,
Yeah, and he reported barber poles on the
Raj.
fuel
A
cells
lot
on
of the
board too,
RCS
Flight.
ones do. Yeah.
Let's see if we can get our DC back.
Raj, go ahead, GNC.
Verify that the quad delta helium valves are open.
Now, are you seeing an attitude problem, or are you seeing some bi-levels that are giving you problems?
No, it's some low pressures in the fuel and oxidizer, which would be symptomatic of the helium valve closing and firing some jets.
Quad number 2, helium valve open?
Quad delta.
Quad delta. Helium valve open, right?
Right.
Capcom, do you want to verify that quad delta helium valve is open, please? Any other problems in the RCS? Buck?
Okay, is that all we can come up with for him? We got any other recommendations?
Yeah, we wanted to get fuel cell 1 configured to main A, fuel cell 3 to main B. Did you pass that up?
Let's attempt that, Flight.
13 Houston, we'd like you to attempt to reconnect.
Echo, this seems to be AC type problems and maybe tied into that high gain thing you got.
Quad delta is open.
We went to wide beam with Flight at 5504, the best
Okay.
we can tell.
Okay, Houston, I'm showing, I tried to reset, and fuel cell 1 and 3 are both showing gray flag, but they're both showing zip on the flows.
I copy, Flight.
We copy.
Let me commiserate on that.
there any kind of leads we can give them? Are we looking at instrumentation, or we got a real problem, or what?
Roger. Flight Econ?
Go, Econ.
Let's reverse the configuration request.
Okay, but wait a minute. We got a good main A bus. Let's make sure that whatever we do doesn't screw up main A.
Fuel
main
cell
A
2 is on main A flight.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask to change that.
Okay, what do you want to do?
Let's try to put fuel cell 1 on main B, fuel cell 3 on main A. We'll use the other sensing circuitry.
Fuel cell number 1 on main B.
Fuel cell 3 on main A. We're not going to touch fuel cell 2 flight.
Okay, but if we got any problems in the system, I want to make sure that we don't blow the voltage off main A. Then we're not going to be able to see anything. Can we review our status here, Si, and see what we've got from a standpoint of status? What do you think we got in the spacecraft that's good?
Main bus A is reading 25 volts.
Okay, main A.
And that's reflected by the fact fuel cell 2 is putting out 53 amps, which is just about the most it can, and keep our voltage up.
Okay.
So that's bona fide. AC bus 2 is 0, which is reflected by the fact we lost main B.
AC, bus.
Standby flight.
0 output.
Flight Econ.
Go ahead, Econ.
Okay. If we want to keep, let's
Okay, Houston, are you still reading 13?
stand by. Ice change configuration. Got battery A on main A.
With some good ideas here for you.
Go ahead, Si.
That's what I was going to ask you. Put a battery on flight.
Okay, let's
Flight Inco.
Go and go.
We need Omni Bravo.
main A voltage jack up.
Our high gain won't drive without AC2.
Okay, you want Omni Bravo?
Right.
In the interim, to help out main A voltage, I've got main bus tie bad AC on. How would you rather accept?
You don't think we're going to be able to get high bitrate data here, do you? On the Omnis.
We may be. We've got the 210.
You got the 210?
Right.
Okay, that'll save a bit of power. Capcom, let's recommend selection of Omni Bravo, please.
It's Charlie now.
Okay,
He's maneuvering.
Omni Charlie?
Charlie.
Roger.
That's affirmative.
13 Houston, we need Omni Charlie, please.
You got it?
Okay, flight. We got Omni Charlie and high bit rate.
Okay. You have high bit rate now off the 210s, right? On the
Right.
Omnis. Okay.
Flight Econ.
Go, Ecom.
Okay, let's get a readout on a couple fuel cell pressures here.
Okay.
Fuel cell 1N2 pressure, fuel cell 302 pressure. We're reading 0 N2 pressure in fuel cell 1 and 13 psi on fuel cell 302 pressure.
Okay, you want fuel cell 1,
N2 pressure,
N2 pressure. Fuel cell 3, what do you want there?
O2 pressure.
O2 pressure. Capcom, let's get those as a start.
13 Houston.
Flight
we'd like you
guidance.
to
Go
verify a
guidance.
couple readings for us. with
When
the-
his hardware restart, he was doing a crew-defined maneuver, and that should have killed it, but we're still moving. Maybe he ought to stop it.
Are we using RCS now, Buck?
Okay, nitrogen on 1 and oxygen on 2, is that correct?
Negative oxygen on 3.
Okay.
GNC from flight. GNC from flight.
GNC.
Did you see any problems in quad D helium valve? Does that look like that's cleared up?
Roger, that cleared up flight. We're in good shape.
Okay. Now, are we using RCS now?
That's affirmative. We're going to have to switch them thrusters over to main A to cold attitude here.
Okay. How much RCS we used?
Oh, we've used, I would guess 25 pounds.
Okay, give me a minimum fuel usage configuration that'll keep me attitude.
Raj.
I tell you,
Go tell me.
the LEM heater currents become essentially static.
Raj, let's solve one problem at a time. Come back to me later on in it.
And 2 Baker, which is 3 oxygen, says 0.6.
2 Baker says 0.6, and say again the other one.
Fuel cell 1, nitrogen, reads 0.
Roger, 0.
We confirming those numbers?
That's
Buck, I need that RCS stuff as soon as you can get it.
Raj, flight. He's turned off all jets now.
Okay.
Okay, we came up with those numbers, Flight.
Okay, Si, give me your next best thing to try. Ecom for flight.
Flight Econ.
Go ahead.
Why don't we try leave fuel cell 2 alone and just make sure that 1 and 3 are disconnected from both buses, and make sure that there's won't be any load on them at all. And let's see what happens to those cells.
Okay, Barrett, what do you want to do? Open circuit fuel cell 1 and 3?
That's firm flight.
Okay. Capcom, let's recommend we open circuit fuel cell number 1 and number 3 and leave fuel cell number 2 as is.
Okay, 1 and 3 open circuit, 2 as is, and earlier got a report from them that 1 and 3 were reading gray but 0 flow.
Yeah, Capcom, let's amend that. Ecom from flight,
Flight Econ.
why don't we just open circuit 1 and make sure that we don't have any problems getting that back onto the bus? Let's
Okay,
just
fine.
watch it for a while before we make any further moves with 3.
Roger.
Okay, Capcom, let's just open circuit 1 of those right now.
13 Houston, we'd like you to open circuit fuel cell 1. Leave 2 and 3 as is.
Okay, I'll get to work on that.
Flight
And
GNC.
Jack, our O2 quantity number 2 tankers, we can 0 to forget that?
O2 quantity
That's
number
Roger
2 is
Flight.
0.
That's the AC problem.
Okay.
Roger.
Yeah, that's because of AC. And it looks to me, looking out the hatch, that we are venting something.
The crew thinks they're venting something.
I heard that flight.
Something out into space.
Roger, we copy your venting.
Copy that, Flight.
Gas and so
Roger.
forth.
Okay, let's everybody think of the kind of things we'd be venting. GNC, you got anything that looks abnormal in your system?
Negative, flight.
How about you, Ecom? You see anything that, with the instrumentation you got, that could be venting?
Okay, fuel cell 1, you just wanted off the line now, Jack, is that right?
We just want
That's
you
firm
to
flight.
open circuit fuel cell 1.
Okay, she's off the line.
Let me look at the system flight as far as the venting is concerned.
Okay, let's start scanning. I assume you've called in your backup Ecoms? Ecom,
Flight, say again?
have you called in your backup Ecoms now? See if we can get some more brain power in this
We
thing?
got one here.
Roger.
Flight Inco.
Go and go.
Never mind, he's straightened up a little bit.
Okay. Okay, now let's everybody keep cool. We got the LEM still attached. The LEM spacecraft's good, so if we need to get back home, we got a LEM to do a good portion of it with. Okay, let's make sure that we don't do anything that's going to blow our CSM electrical power with the batteries or that will cause us to lose the main or the fuel cell number 2. Okay, we want to keep the O2 and that kind of stuff working. We'd like to have RCS, but we got the command module system So we're in good shape if we need to get home. Let's solve the problem, but let's not make it any worse by guessing.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
We have some jet configurations for you whenever you need them.
Okay. Give them to me.
Okay, Charlie 3, Charlie 4 to main A. Bravo 3 and Bravo 4 to main A. Charlie 1 and Charlie 2 to main A.
Stand by.
Yeah, it's all a quad Charlie on main A,
Okay.
plus Bravo 3 and Bravo 4.
Now, what are we going to be doing with these, GNC?
Yeah, that'll give us one jet in each direction in each axis.
Okay.
Flight guidance.
Go, guidance.
He's getting close to gimbal lock.
Capcom. Okay, Capcom recommend he bring up C3, C4, B3, B4, C1, C2 on main A and advise him he's getting close to gimbal lock.
13 Houston, we see you getting close to gimbal lock there. We'd like
Guidance
to,
from flight.
Go ahead.
Could we go to a course line on the platform here so we don't have to use any gas if we need to?
Also bring B.
We could reorient if necessary.
Roger. I was going to recommend a P-52 in a little bit.
Well, it's going to take a while before we get to the point where we're even thinking of a P-52.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll course align itself there, won't it?
13 Houston, you read?
It'll course line at 85
Roger.
itself.
No, we got it. Over.
Okay, can you tell us anything about the venting, where it's coming from? What window you see it at?
It's coming out of window 1 right now, Jack. And could you give me the thrusters again?
Okay, the thrusters,
What buses?
we'd like, on main A, we'd like Charlie 1, 2, 3, and 4. Also, Bravo 3 and 4 on main A.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I'm coming back to you.
Flight.
Go ahead.
I think the best thing we can do right now is start a power down.
Okay,
Let's go down the emergency 1-5.
you want to
Flight
power
in, go.
down, let us look at the TM and all that good stuff, and then come back up.
That's firm.
Flight info, Omni Bravo.
You want Omni Bravo again?
Right.
On board. Omni Bravo. Capcom recommend Omni Bravo. Okay. What? Do you want to go to power down? Give me the page.
Emergency 1-5 flight. We'll go down, try to get a delta of 10 amps reduction.
You want?
Okay, we got Omni Bravo flight.
Ecom, do you want to go through that again? What do you want to power down to?
I want to power down a total of 10 amps flight.
A total of 10 amps.
That's firm.
Okay. Capcom, we'd recommend emergency power down checklist 1-5. We want to power down a total or a delta of 10 amps from where we are now.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Can we afford to do a PTC first, and then we shut off all of that stuff with no problems?
Why? You think you're going to have a thermal problem here?
Well, we could have, if we stay there too long. Or
Okay. We'll run into that one later, Buck.
Okay.
I want to get our major problem sorted out now.
You want, still want 1-5 down to 10?
1-5 powered down, a delta of 10 amps, Capcom.
Okay, 13, this is Houston. We'd like you to go to your GNC checklist. The pink page is 1-5. to power down until we get a delta of 10 amps. Over.
All right. Roger.
Ecom from flight.
Go flight.
You don't want to get fuel cell pumps off, do you? Optics power is already off, I believe.
We can do that on fuel cell number 1 flight.
Okay, well, let's make sure we don't blow the whole mission.
Okay, Jack. Say again that area. Not the big pages, the 1-5.
Okay, we'd like you to go down that power down procedure until you get a delta of 10 amps. Over.
Flight Econ?
Go, Ecom.
Would you not want to consider going into PTC?
Well, why don't we get this problem here resolved right now?
This will aid our power down, I think.
Pardon?
This should aid our power down, I'd hope. Wouldn't it?
Well, do you expect that we're going to be in a thermal problem for the next many hours? Ecom?
Well, I don't know where Theta Sun is right now, Flight.
Well, it's pretty close to quad A right now.
Are we about 90 degrees?
You copy our...
I don't know exactly where. It's between A and B, mostly on A.
All right, Jack. We're right now. Where did you say that was located, Jack?
That's in your system checklist, page 1-5. And 13, you might also check for those pages in your launch checklist. There is
GNC from flight.
Pages, pink pages 1-5, and we'd like you to
GNC from flight.
power down until you get
the launch checklist, Jack.
GNC.
Buck, I'd prefer not to make any unnecessary maneuvers now or
less than what you got now.
try to use any of the equipments on board the spacecraft, such things as CMC, that type stuff, until we nail down what our problem is.
Well, that's why I was recommending PTC, because we don't need any of that stuff then, heaters or anything else.
Yeah, but you got to get the CMC on and keep it online. And you need a rather precise period of time for rate damping there.
Well, you order 20 minutes to damp out and then spin up, and then we can do without any of that. If we get a good spin up going, then we're stable.
Okay, that might be a good idea. That'd buy us some more time from a standpoint of reviewing the data, and it'd get us back into the as close to the normal flight plan as we could. How far are we out of altitude right now?
He's a fair ways out right now, Flight. He'd do another Verb 49 and fly back and then stabilize there.
Flight Econ?
Just a go, Econ.
Okay, I need one thing right now. He's powering down. He's down to 41 amps total spacecraft. I'd like to get my AC2 bus back so I can look at O2 tank 2 pressure. I have no insight into that.
Okay.
let's get, I guess we can put inverter 3 to main A, AC2. And then
let me
we'll
ask
just
you
do
a
it
question.
temporarily.
Before you do that, would you like to make sure you got all AC loads you don't need isolated from the bus?
Nah, let's not do that right now, Flight. I think we're in good shape that way. The main A is up high enough where it can handle the inverter.
Well, the thing that concerns me is throwing equipment. We had a problem. We don't know the cause of the problem.
Flight, I've got a feeling we've lost 2 fuel cells. I hate to put it that way, but I don't know why we've lost them. It doesn't all tag up. And it's not an instrumentation problem, the best I can tell right now.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's discuss this for just a little bit longer there, Si. Capcom, let's start them moving back towards a PTC attitude. Let's start them going into his rate damping. I feel it's going to be a relatively long period of time to try and nail down the problem. Go ahead.
He's asking how do we like his amperage setup right now?
On this page 1-5.
Are you happy with his power level right now,
All
Ecom?
the way down, we're right now at BMAG number 2 is in warm-up.
Roger, we copy B-Mag 2 and warm-up.
Flight
All
intel.
through.
Go ahead.
I'd like for him to secure the high gain before he starts into PTC.
Okay, and something is giving us the rates, Jack, both in pitch and roll. So I'm suspecting that maybe it's whatever it is that's venting back there. I've had to use direct in order to stabilize this, and as soon as I do, we're starting to pick up rates again. Can you pick up any jet firing?
Stand by.
That's for GNC. What's firing now? You got something firing?
Well, we've seen quite a bit of thruster activity.
Okay, I guess this kills the PTC, too, because we're not going to get into PTC as long as we got something venting.
It's negative pitch and negative roll.
Roger, Flight, that agrees with what we're seeing here.
Flight Econ,
Go, Ecom.
I got a little correction. Let's put inverter 1 on both AC buses, please.
Inverter 1 on both AC. Why?
That's firm. So I can get some AC bus power back, so I can have some insight into my AC bus 2 telemetry, especially my crowds. Maybe the venting may be coming from that. And also, I think that the fuel cell 2 pumps are on AC2, and this will take care of it without switching the pumps yet.
Say that again. You think your
Fuel
fuel cell pumps?
Yeah, the fuel cell 2 pumps, I think, are on AC2. We better get
Okay,
some
but
power.
according to the checklist, he should have turned those off, right? Oh, he said he was down to BMAG number 2 is in warm-up, so he's already gone through the fuel cell
Okay.
pump stuff.
Good enough.
Okay, so you want to configure inverter 1 on both AC buses.
That's a firm flight.
Flight, I didn't, I
Go
was
ahead.
listening to the spacecraft, and I didn't pass up inverter 3 to main A to AC2. Did you delete that?
Yeah,
request?
we deleted that.
All right.
You want to put inverter 1 on both AC buses. Ecom and Capcom, let's do it.
Okay.
13, Houston, we need to get some more instrumentation up. We'd like you to put inverter
Ecom for
1
flight.
on both AC buses.
Flight Econ.
Monitor this barrel when we switch
With
it
you.
in.
Okay.
Tell Mew and control from flight. Go flight. Will you take a look at your pre-launch data and go through your system, see if there's anything you've got that may have started venting here?
Roger, flight.
Okay, and I want to report on that in about the next 15 minutes. Quick look type stuff. Okay.
Flight Fido.
Go, Fido.
We're definitely seeing a vent in the data.
Okay.
And, Jack, one of the items that we turned off was all the fuel cell pumps.
Raj, we copied that, Capcom.
And you might let us know when fuel cell 2 needs its pump back. We ought to take care of that guy.
Fuel cell, Flight Econ.
Go ahead.
Fuel cell 2 pumps to AC1.
You want fuel cell 2 pump to AC1.
Affirmative.
Capcom, fuel cell 2 pump to AC1.
Okay, Fred, we want fuel cell 2 pumps to AC1, please.
Fuel cell 2 AC1, under. Okay, it's on AC1.
Ecom from flight.
Flight
Have
Econ.
you got anybody getting a delog in this thing downstairs? Network from flight.
flight network.
Bring me up another computer in the RTCC, will you?
We got one machine on the RTCC and we got dual CPs downstairs.
Okay, I want another machine up in the RTCC, and I want a bunch of guys capable of running D-logs down there.
Roger that.
Flight, did you hear him say he's getting some rates? We want to know if he's firing any thrusters.
Raj, GNC, watch those thrusters, will you?
GNC, say again.
Have you got any thrusters firing?
We're looking at that C3 thruster flight. It looks like it stays on most of the time.
Well, can we turn them all off and see if we still got the rates or any buildup in rates?
Well, the rate that we're seeing is opposite to the direction of that thruster, so if anything, it's just trying to hold and not quite up to it.
Okay, but
He's been trying to counteract the rates with direct. He's been getting a negative pitch and a negative roll.
okay.
But he asked if we were getting some thruster firings that were not being made by him.
I'll tell you what, GNC, can you get somebody in the back room to try to figure out what the equivalent delta V is we're getting, so that we can see if we can backtrack to see if we can figure out what's venting. In other words, it would seem we could equate that to effective thrust and an axis and then deduce what's venting.
Roger, we'll give it a try, Flight.
Okay? And that might be of interest to the LEM guys.
Hey, he also said it was coming past window number 1.
Flight
Raj, we
intel.
got that.
Need Omni Charlie.
Omni Charlie, Capcom.
Omni Charlie, please, 13.
Ecom from Flight, what did,
Omni Charlie.
Okay, you got two good AC buses. What did all that tell you now?
It tells me that, well, just give me about 2 more minutes, Flight.
Okay, take your time.
Okay, 13, we've got lots and lots of people working on this. We'll get you some dope as soon as we have it, and you'll be the first one to know.
Thank you. Okay, Jack, and the way our configuration we're sitting in now is we have the hatch installed. We still have the probe and drogue inside the command module. We're going to stay in this situation until you kind of give us an okay to reinstall the probe and drogue.
Raj, concur, Capcom.
Use the LEM consumables.
Roger.
Flight, tell me we copy.
Raj.
Flight Fido.
Go, Fido.
2 machines in the RTCC.
Okay.
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
We would like to turn thruster Alpha 3 on main A and see if that'll help control that pitch. And at the same time, we can turn off Charlie 3.
Okay, give me some real-time plotting on how we're using RCS here, will you?
Raj, Flight. In the pitch axis, we really don't seem to be using any, and that's why I would like to go to Alpha and see if that changes it any.
Okay, now what do you want again?
Thruster Alpha 3 to main A.
Alpha 3 to main A. Capcom, do you want to pass that up to the crew, please?
13, we'd like to have you put thruster Alpha 3 on main A, please.
Give me a gross amount of RCS propellant consumed so far. GNC.
Roger, Flight. It'll take 30 seconds.
Okay.
Are you monitoring the quad temps and quad A? Package temps?
That's affirmative, Flight. We're still below the limits.
Flight Econ.
Go, Ecom.
We've really got to get that battery off the line and power down some more. And we've got to get some main B power back so we can build our pressure back up in O2 tank 1. It's down to 318 psi. See, with main B down, we have no heaters in O2 tanks.
Okay, what do you want to power down?
Well, where do you say you got down to? BMAG 2 off, not inclusive?
That's affirmative. BMAG 2 is in warm-up.
I think we'll go ahead and turn that down. We still have the LEM with us, right?
That's affirmative.
So if we shut down the SCS, we ought to be a little better off, perhaps. I think we ought to press on and go down through BMAG 2 off and get those lights minimum.
Okay. How much you want to power down? Another 10 amps?
Let's
Give me some
go
delta.
get the BMAG off and get the lights down to a minimum. Let's go down 2 more steps.
Okay, Capcom, we want to power down a little bit more. Want to get the BMAG off and lights minimum there.
13, this is Houston. We'd like to power down just a little bit more, so let's get BMAG 2 off and make sure your lights are down, over.
Okay, our lights are down and BMAG 2 is going from the standby to off.
Okay, Si. Now, how long do you want to leave this battery online?
I want to try to get it off as quick as I can, but I need to get power down. Yeah, the crew did report they removed fuel cell 3. They open circuited it also, didn't they?
I don't believe so.
Fuel cell 1 and fuel cell 3 should be open circuited.
We just had our last call for fuel cell 1 open circuit, and we left fuel cell 3 as it was.
Well, let's open circuit fuel cell 3.
Open circuit fuel cell 3.
Get it off the bus.
Flight GNC.
We'd like you to open circuit fuel cell 3.
Calling flight, say again.
This GNC, Flight.
Go ahead.
Okay, we've used a total of about 70 pounds RCS. We'd like to change the jet configuration and see if that'll help us out any.
Okay, what do you want to try now?
We would like to turn the Bravo jets all to the off and all Delta to main A.
Turn all Bravo off and Delta to main A, right?
Raj, they'll verify that it isn't a Bravo thruster that's causing the problem with the attitudes.
Okay, Capcom, we'd like to turn all Bravo jets off and all Delta jets to main A.
Roger.
Flight Econ.
Go, Econ.
Let's take battery A off the main.
We can support the
That's
main
firm.
now on the one fuel cell, even with the cryo 2 going down?
That's a firm flight.
Okay, what's your worry level on cryo 2?
Say again, flight.
Okay, you want
I want to save the battery, flight.
to... Okay. See, what battery have we got online, Si?
Say again.
What battery have we got online?
Battery Alpha, flight.
Battery A, okay.
The next step, of course, we'll then think we got to worry about getting some power on main B to get the pressure back up in O2 tank 1.
Raj. Turn battery A off, Capcom.
13, Houston, turn battery A off.
Battery A off, Roger.
Flight Econ.
Go,
Let's
Econ.
have them isolate the surge tank also and save it, and we use the cryo as much as we can.
Say that again?
Let's isolate the surge tank
Why
in the
that?
command module.
I don't understand that, Si.
I want to use the cryo as much as possible.
But that would seem to be the opposite if you want to keep the fuel cell going.
The fuel cells are fed off the the tank's in the service module flight. The surge tank is in the command module. We want to save the surge tank, which we need for entry.
Okay, I'm with you.
Roger.
Capcom, let's also isolate the surge tank.
Okay, you want to isolate the surge tank.
Yeah.
O2 surge tank, right?
Yeah, what we're really doing is securing our entry systems right now.
13 Houston, we'd like you to isolate your O2 surge tank. Over.
Surge tank off now, Jack. Okay, Jack, are you copying O2 tank 1 cryo pressure?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out some way to get power on
That's affirmative, and
Bus B.
we're trying to get power to that tank. Stand by, we're working on it.
Okay.
Ecom from flight. Ecom from flight.
Ecom.
Would you consider put a battery on bus B long enough to get the pressure up?
Well, I want to determine whether or not the 5 amps is going to hurt us any. That's going to be in main A, incidentally. I made a mistake. O2 tank 1 heaters are in main A.
We got main A with us, haven't we?
Flight Ecom.
Go Ecom.
Okay, since O2 tank 1 heaters are on main A and we've got them off now, we'll be able to stand the 5 amps temporarily for a manual pressurization. Let's have them turn the heaters on manually in O2 tank 1.
O2
and we'll watch the pressure.
tank 1.
Okay, we had a service module RCSB light check due to package temperature.
It's cryogenic O2 heater 1 flight.
Module RCSB.
Flight, we copy that, no problem.
No problem, Capcom. Capcom, we want to get cryo O2 tank number 1 heater on.
The lights we got on now, cryo press, fuel cell 1, fuel cell 3, main bus B underbolt, food compressor.
Roger, we copy them, and we'd like to build up the pressure in O2 tank 1, so turn the heaters on manually. We'll watch the pressure for you.
You can stand the 5 amps on main A.
That's firm. We think so, flight.
Roger, we realize that. We feel we can stand 5 more amps on.
Okay. Okay, heater tank 1 on.
Did you see your 5 amp increase in current there, Ecom?
That's firm, flight.
Okay.
26.7 volts, looks good. We'll watch
Okay.
the pressure. Flight, to be consistent, we ought to isolate the repress package also.
Okay, you want to isolate repress back. AFD from flight.
Fair flight.
Get one of your guys full-time in the back room keeping track of the spacecraft configuration as we pass it up to the crew. You might use Larry. Why don't you stay on and get Larry in the back room to keep track of configuration stuff we give it to the crew.
Okay, fine.
Okay?
And we've got the voice recorder, and we're starting to transcribe that.
Okay, now, has anybody started a D-log of the initial problem? You've got a D-log going. Have you got people that are going to be in a position to evaluate it? Okay. Tell them you and control from flight. Go flight. Roger. I want Lim Manning around the clock. Roger.
Flight Ecom.
Go ahead, Ecom.
I want the fans on and O2 tank 1. We're not seeing a pressure increase. We can stand it.
You can stand it?
That's fair.
Fans on in tank 1, right?
That's right.
Affirmative, flight.
Capcom, do you want to bring the fans on in
That's
tank
less than
1?
an amp flight.
Okay.
Okay, he's got an MC&W for varied reasons.
13 Houston, we'd like you to additionally bring on the fans in O2 tank 1, and we can stand the additional amperage on that.
Okay, bring on the fans at O2 tank 1.
Flight GNC.
Go ahead, GNC.
It looks like the vehicle stabilized considerably over the last few minutes.
Okay, that could mean one of two things. Either whatever was venting has stopped venting, it's empty, or do you feel it could also be associated with the thruster quad Bravo we just isolated?
It's possible, flight. We really don't know yet, though.
Okay, are we essentially in a... can you figure out what orientation we are from a standpoint of thermal control? I assume, what's our rate right now?
Right now he has a minus 1/10 of a degree in pitch, and yaw and roll are very close to 0.
Okay.
Flight Econ.
Go ahead, Econ.
The pressure in O2 tank 1 is all the way down to 297. We better think about getting in the LEM or using the LEM systems. I'm going to have to power way down. I don't know if I'm going to be able to save the O2 for the third fuel cell, for fuel cell 2 rather.
The heaters aren't working. Now let's start thinking circuit breakers. You got any circuit breakers you want to check there?
We saw the current, flight.
You saw the current.
Okay,
There,
let's check it anyway, flight. You're right.
It looks like it's cycling up a PCM count from 297 to 302.
Okay.
Give me some circuit breakers to check.
Okay, panel 226. Cryogenic O2 heater 1, main A circuit breaker.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch you there. Cryo O2 tank 1, panel 226.
Cryo O2 heater 1, main A, panel 226. Also, flight, let's check the fan motor circuit breakers tank 1 on panel 226 also.
Fan motor.
Cryo fan motors tank 1. There are 3 circuit breakers, 3-phase.
Get that, Capcom?
I've got the 226 Cryo O2 heater 1 main A and Cryo fan motors tank 1, 3 of them on 226.
That's right, all 3 phases. Ecom, I don't think we're going to come to any solution here until we get back to the initial set of conditions, so I hope you got a set of guys looking at a D-log pretty soon.
Panel 226. Cryo O2 heater number 1, main A. And check the 3 cryo fan motors, tank 1.
Tell me you from flight. Go ahead, flight. I want you to get some guys figuring out minimum power in the LEM to sustain life. Roger? Okay.
Jack 226 is configured just like it should be. I got 3 react breakers and 3 rad breakers open. All the rest are closed.
Okay, Fred, thank you.
Got the circuit breakers all in, flight.
Raj. Copy, all circuit breakers in.
Jack, looking outside, the number of particles has diminished greatly, almost ceased now, which indicates maybe what it was venting has almost stopped.
Roger, Jack, thank you. We copy.
Flight Econ.
Go ahead, Econ.
Don't we have both BMAGs off?
Make it some pitch, though.
Roger.
Capcom, would you verify that both BMAGs are off, please?
And 13, we'd like to verify that both BMAGs are off, please.
Negative. We just have one BMAC.
You want to bring it off, right, Ecom?
Number 1 is still on.
Affirmative, flight.
Capcom, let's get it off.
Okay, Jack, let's take BMAG 1 off.
Okay, BMAC number 1 off now.
Capcom from flight.
Go flight.
Will you get a cockpit panel 1, 2 layout and have the crew, just get the thing and have the crew read across all instruments, all gauges, and write down exactly what they read in those things.
Okay, you want a survey of panels 1 and 2 and gauges?
Yeah,
Okay. And talkbacks, huh?
that's affirmative. Figure out some code that you can use, and I think that's something we should have got started a while ago.
13, this is Houston.
Flight
We'd
final.
like you to give us a survey of your displays on MDCs 1 and 2. Give us gauge readings and talkbacks.
See, that
Over.
juice is still going down there, Ecom. Got any more suggestions?
Okay, we'll start with
Flight Econ.
Any more suggestions in trying to pump up O2 tank 1 pressure?
No.
MDC 1.
Flight, we're going to hit 100 PSI in an hour and 54 minutes. That's the end right there.
B. I've got ball number 1 appears to be working.
Okay, 100 PSI.
Less than 2 hours now.
I'm going to try and hold 0, 180, and 0. Okay, Houston, the center panel, I'm looking at the RCS indicator A. We have a vacuum temperature of about 180. Oxygen pressure is 3,900. I'm looking at fuel pressure of about 180 and percentage of about, let's say, 85%. B is about the same, except the pressure is 190. On quad C, we're looking about the same, except that vacuum temperature is 100. On quad D, we're looking at vacuum temperature of 160, although it's about the same. CM pressure, RCS pressure is looking nominal. Unit pressure is around 4 now. And vacuum temperature is about a little less than 80 on ring 1. And about the same on ring 2. And the talkbacks on the SMRCS, I've got helium 1 now are all gray, helium 2 are all gray, primary proton are all gray, secondary proton I've got 2 barber pole, A is barber pole, B gray, C barber pole, and D gray. Okay, on the ECS radiators, barber pole is gray. On the ECS primary indicator.
Fido from flight.
Go ahead, flight.
Whatever planning you do, I want to do assuming that we're going around the moon and we're using the LEM for performing the maneuver, because in the present configuration, unless we get a heck of a lot smarter, I think we're wasting our time planning and using the SPS.
Okay, flight.
So I think all of our return to Earth type planning should be assuming the use of the LEM, DIPS, and or RCS. And I think third priority down the line should be CSM RCS.
Okay, and I'm assuming you'd want fastest possible return.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
Okay, we'll work on it from that sideline flight.
Okay.
Should be no problem.
I copy that flight.
Flight Econ?
Go ahead, Ecom.
Okay, listen, there is a possibility that we blew a O2 line in one of the fuel cells, and it's effectively manifolded there, of course. Now, I want to shut off one of the reactant valves to one of the fuel cells, and that would be fuel cell 3, since its O2 pressure is gone. Now, fuel cell 1's O2 pressure is trying to stay up there at 45 psi. Maybe the problem is in fuel cell 3.
That sounds like a good assumption right there.
Yeah, fuel cell 3 is lost anyway as far as...
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Turn Charlie 1 thruster off.
You want to turn Charlie 1 off? Why?
Well, it looks like we're getting a lot of firing out of it for no reason.
Okay, Capcom. Recommend thruster C1 2 off.
Say again, Flight.
Thruster C1 2 off.
C1 and 2 off.
No, C1 off. I added a word in there. Turn thruster C1 off.
We'd like to have thruster C1 off. C1 off. And proceed. My last copy is secondary red in.
Ecom from Flight.
Flight Econ?
Why don't you show me where you think that problem is?
Okay, Clint's coming up.
Secondary accumulator is about 34%. Temperatures, suits showing about 52 degrees, cabin about 58 degrees. Pressures, suit reading 4.1, cabin at 5. Partial pressure CO2 is up to a little over 1, about 1.1. On the SPS side of the house, the temperature is 72 degrees. Helium's reading 3,500. N2A is reading 2,300. N2B about 2,450. Our ullage pressures, fuel is reading about 165. Oxidizer 170. Fuel cell 1, both closed are zipped. Skin temp 405 degrees. Centric exhaust is floor scale. Fuel cell 2. Right now we got an O2 flow reading of 0.13 to 0.14.
Flight Econ?
Go ahead, Econ.
We need to get the, make sure the inline heaters for fuel cells 1 and 3 are off.
1.1 up to full fuel line. The T-scan is about 445, and the condenser exhaust 17, correction 180. Let's see, the DC indicator...
Econ from Flight, you want to shut off both reactant valves to fuel cell number
It does
3?
it anyway, Flight.
Okay.
And the inline heaters off in fuel cells 1 and 3, please.
What we're supposing here, Capcom, is we may have had some problem in fuel cell number 3, since that's the one that's reading no O2 right now. And we may be losing our O2 through fuel cell number 3, the O2 manifold, in as much as they're manifolded together commonly. Looks like the O2 and fuel cell 1 and 2 seem to be trying to stay up there. And fuel cell 3 looks like it's the oddball here. Capcom, let's close the reactant valve to fuel cell number 3.
Okay, close reactant valve to fuel cell number 3. And you're saying that 1 and 2 look okay?
Well, what it looks like the pressure's trying to stay up there, and this is the best guess we've got right now because we got to stop this O2 flow.
Okay.
Okay, 13, this is Houston. It appears to us that we're losing O2 flow through
Flight GNC.
Go, GNC.
Some more jet reconfiguration to see if we can hold the attitude.
Okay.
I'd like to turn Charlie 2
Well,
off.
why are we interested in holding attitude? If we're not venting, why not drift for a while? That'd probably be better from a standpoint of thermal control anyway, wouldn't it?
Well, I think we'd like to get into a control drift rather than just some random thing flight.
Stand by.
That's affirmative. Close the react valve on fuel cell 3.
Okay. I'll go to the SSR page. You want me to go through that whole smash for fuel cell shutdown, is that correct?
You want him to go through that whole smash for fuel cell shutdown? So I assume you do. Heaters and all? Ecom?
That's firm flight. He's gone through much of it already by the pumps off.
Okay, you want him to go through the whole fuel cell shutdown, heaters and all?
Heaters, reactant valves, and the pumps, of course, he's already got.
Okay. Have him go ahead, Capcom.
And get the inline heaters off on fuel cell 1 also flight.
Inline heaters off and fuel cell 1.
Roger, we'll cut the current requirement down that way.
Okay, 13, we want you to turn the inline heaters off on fuel cell 1. And we want you to go through the fuel cell shutdown procedure on fuel cell 3. Read back.
Okay, shut down the inline on fuel cell 1. We're proceeding with the shutdown. Special subroutine for fuel cell 3.
That's affirmative.
Our comm holding up, sounds like he's going out.
How you doing there, Inco, from a standpoint of omni switching?
We might be a little better on Bravo.
Okay, can you figure me out some way to keep communications and yet cut down a bit in the load? You might talk to Ecom on it.
Okay, we can turn the tape recorder off.
Ecom from flight.
Flight econ?
You don't need the tape recorder, do you?
Heck no.
Let's get it off.
It may be already off, but that's one thing we don't need.
Let's go down the list as much of that Inco stuff we can get, flight. I think that's about the one biggie right there.
I think that's about the only thing we can give up. If we turn the power amp off, we won't get high bit rate.
Capcom from flight.
Go.
It's also verified tape recorders off, please.
Okay, I think we...
I don't think we got down that far on the list, did we? We went to the BMAGs, and that was lights, BMAGs and lights, and I think we stopped right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's firm flight. We'll skip a step and go to tape recorder off.
13, Houston, over.
Go ahead.
Okay, you got Omni Bravo, and we'd like to have you verify that the tape recorder is off, please.
That's verified. Okay, check.
AFD meet recovery loop.
An 0618 showing. I can't get rid of it.
What was that, Capcom?
We copied, fine.
What was that, guidance?
He had an 0618 and couldn't get rid of it. He's got rid of it now.
Okay, fuel cell 3 reactor off.
Roger, Jim, thank you.
Flight final.
Okay, flight, I had him reading off a lot of gauge readings. We got over to fuel cell 3, and I hope your people are copying all this down.
Did you get it in some kind of master? We got it on tape. I'm sure we can get it off the tape.
That's affirmed. I'd say I have 95% of the ones you read.
Okay.
Step 2, repeat 1. This procedure has been completed.
Roger, thank you.
Flight Fido.
Go, Fido.
When the systems men can stand it, I need 2 minutes for a checkpoint to save all this data.
I don't see why we couldn't. Ecom, GNC, can you stand a checkpoint right now?
Well, it only takes a minute. I guess I'll have to if we need it, Flight.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think it'd be good to get a checkpoint. Go ahead. Ecom, have you deduced anything? Have you seen your reactant valves go off? Have you seen flow cease?
You can't tell, Flight.
Yeah.
They were open circuited, and the pressure still appears to be going down.
Yeah.
Negative, Flight.
Flight Ecom,
Go, Ecom.
we better confirm that the fuel cell 3 reactant valve circuit breaker on panel 226 was closed when he shut those.
Fuel cell 3, reactant circuit breaker. And what panel?
226. They're normally open.
Okay, good idea.
You want them close the circuit breaker,
Yeah.
open the valve, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah, Flight, you should have got a bar pull on that.
Yeah, wouldn't he get a barber pole when he turned the reactants off? Ecom?
Confirm, Flight.
Even with the circuit breaker open?
No.
No, okay, so he ought to know that. We can just verify that he got a...
Okay, Jack, I'd like to bring on Jet A4. I've got...
Okay, Flight, we have our checkpoint.
Okay. All flight controllers, I'd suggest you start handing over because I think a fresh team is probably going to be thinking clearer. I think the rest of us can continue working in some other function in support of the new team coming on.
Go on thruster A4, Flight.
Okay? Go on,
Omni
thrust
Charlie,
right
Flight.
forward. Roger,
Omni Charlie.
and Omni Charlie.
I got a positive pitch rate, and I can't stop it.
Okay. Okay, Jack, bring A4 on, stop your pitch rate.
Okay, that got it.
And 13, we need Omni Charlie, please.
Omni Charlie.
And Freda, we'd like to have you verify fuel cell reactants talkback is barber pole.
That's fine. I watched it, and it went barber pole as I threw the switch.
Roger.
Okay, all flight controllers, I'm handing over to Glenn. I assume the majority of other team guys are pretty much briefed and up to speed as best we can. Now, what I'd suggest is the white team do two things. They go over the D-logs. Okay, let me go back over this again. We're handing over to Glenn. I'd suggest the white team goes back and starts going through the D-log of the data. In other words, let's see if we can go back to the initial conditions and work in that problem to see if we can find out what happened, and we may find some better clues as to what to do, and let the fresh guys come on and try to figure out where do we go from here. And the D-log is in a way now. Roger.